Welcome to Fresh Start Wellness, where being healthy is easy, fun, and simple. I'm Mary Beth, your host, and today our guest is Mr. Robin Clark with McMinnville Jiu-Jitsu. Did I say that right?
You did. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Great to be here.
Thanks. We're glad you were able to come and share this information because a lot of people like myself, I'm kind of afraid because I think it's a man's sport. So
No, absolutely not.
So what's the difference, or what is Jiu-Jitsu?
Well, Jiu-Jitsu is it's the most effective, complete, and proven self-defense system. It's a self-defense system that was created by Helio Gracie in Brazil. He modified the Japanese ancestor and adapted it so that it used less physical strength and more mechanical strength. And this is important because if there's a physical altercation, if you're a woman and you get attacked by a man or somebody of greater strength, size, aggression levels, then it needs to work in that situation. You can't count on having an opponent that's smaller than you or weaker than you. So to be able to have a self-defense system that works against a stronger opponent is necessary if you're really talking about self-defense and the techniques that work. We don't require on athleticism of being able to stand in the pocket and trade blows with somebody. If you're fighting a man, or if a man attacks you, if you're trained and your art provides you simply with kicks and punches as a means of self-defense, then you have to get into a fist fight with a man, and for you that's probably not the safest route. So, you know, we teach you to stay safe, to make sure that he can't knock you out or the things he wants to do. You don't try to beat him, you just try to make sure he can't do to you what he wants to do, right?
Gotcha. So like karate, we've all seen Karate Kid, and is this anything like that? I mean, do you...
It's very similar. Every style comes kind of, has similar origins. What really makes Jiu-Jitsu unique is that when an altercation happens, whether it's a man attacking a woman, an older child attacking a smaller child, or bullying situation, or two men get into a fight. One guy's usually a little bit bigger, you know, there's no weight classes, there's no time limits in a street fight. So again, to only rely on striking as your means of self-defense doesn't make sense in that situation, because you're probably not scared of the person smaller than you, you're scared of the person that's bigger than you, that's able to punch harder, that has a bigger fist. How big's your fist compared to mine, right? So most fights end up going to the ground, and because of this, Jiu-Jitsu, we spend a lot of our time training how to deal with the situation from the ground. So if I get into a fight, a big guy, even if it starts out as a boxing match, in boxing, two fighters hit, hug, the referee comes, he splits them up, then they box, they hug, they split them up. Well, we call that hug in a fight a clinch. And from the clinch, without a referee to break it up or to stop the action, the fight will eventually end up with one guy putting the other guy to the floor to where he can control him and continue the fight from there. So we spend a large portion of our time training for when the inevitable happens and the fight ends up going to the ground. So for people that don't know much about grappling arts, it looks a little more like wrestling than it would karate.
Right, and I've seen you do some demonstrations before at different events, and it's pretty awesome. I mean, you know, people are actually cheering for y'all, you know, when you do it. So, is there an age limit, or you know?
No, you know, I start my kids' classes at age 5. But whenever the child's ready to learn, you know, if they're 4 years old, they want to come in and they give it a try or whatever, you know, case by case basis. But 5 tends to be a pretty good line to where they can listen and participate in the class, you know, socially. As far as an age limit, Helio Gracie was on the mat doing Jiu-Jitsu until he died in his mid-90s. So he was still doing Jiu-Jitsu, training on the mat at 93. Now it looks different when you train at that age, of course. You know, we always take care of ourselves, but the journey is endless. It took me almost 15 years to get a black belt in Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and I had black belts in other styles before that. But at black belt, you're just getting started. I mean, I can always get better with the techniques. I can always improve, and I can always find more efficient ways to do them. And it's just it's a challenge in that way, but it's so much fun.
Right. It looks like fun when y'all are demonstrating it. What about like time frame? Like when you have young children, is there like a 30-minute class, or how long are you able to actually keep them focused?
Right. Yeah. My younger kids class, which is from 5 to 8 years old, usually runs around 45 minutes. The older kids from 9 to 12, they usually train for about an hour, and then my adults, it's about an hour and a half at the class times.
All right. I have a question.
Sure.
Do you have a women's class?
We do. We have a women's self-defense class that my friend Tammy teaches, and that's on Saturday mornings at 10:30. And you just have to come and try this and see it to believe it, because we're not in there crane kicking or teaching a simulated dance or some of the things that you may associate with martial arts that maybe you've had experiences with in the past. But you will see the practicality in what we do, and it makes sense. And if it doesn't, we explain it to you.
Right.
And we show you, how do I know this works? Because you tried to resist it, and I could do it to you anyway.
Right. So it's a woman teaching the self-defense class for women. That's okay. Awesome. And another question that a lot of us women may have is we're always trying to work out or burn calories. What are the health benefits of Jiu-Jitsu?
It's great core strength training. The women's class is not as rigorous as the regular adult class, but in my regular adult class, the mix is about 50-50. We have about 50% male, 50% female in our membership. And but the women's only class focuses primarily on the most common attacks. A predator attack, a stranger attack, right? If somebody was going to jump out of the bushes, this is probably what they would grab you with, or how they would try to move you from this area to that area. The regular jiu-jitsu class is less escape and evade, and more how do I survive this altercation and wear out the big guy and eventually either get away or make him go to sleep.
Awesome. So are you going to do some demonstration for us today?
I would love to do some demonstration. Do you want to learn some jiu-jitsu? I have a very simple move that you would be great at.
Okay. I'm willing to give it a shot. Just see.
And it may save your life.
Hey, let's do it.
All right.
All right. All right, Robin. Since we've got the table out of the way, show me some moves. Show me something.
I think this technique really illustrates the difference between physical strength and mechanical strength. And it's a really important self-defense move, because if you're being choked, you have, and the arteries are restricted, you only have about 4 or 5 seconds of consciousness left. So you need a move that works every time. So I'm going to put my hands around your neck, which would be a very dangerous thing if you didn't know what to do.
Right.
Most people think hit, punch, but 5 seconds, keep that in mind. So I'm going to let you do it to me, and then I'll do it to you. I'll demonstrate the technique, so just put your hands around my neck. Yes. And that's it. So no matter how strong a person is, this move will get you out of a choke every time. Tight neck muscles, step back, my head goes underneath your arm, and now I'm not being choked.
Okay.
So 1, 2, 3, the head goes under the arm.
Okay.
One more time. 1, 2, 3. Make a U with your head. That's perfect. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yes. Very good. Perfect. Now you've done some jiu-jitsu.
Awesome. Well, can you and Tammy show us some more moves?
I would love to.
All right, Tammy. Stop. That was awesome. That was empowering. Wow, Tammy, that was awesome. Made me feel empowered just watching. So some of the moves though, I mean, could you explain some of the moves that just happened?
Sure, I'd love to go back and kind of explain maybe what the attacker's intent are and kind of show you how she escaped the moves.
Okay.
That would be great.
Awesome.
So I think the first one we did was a very dynamic throw where I come up to grab her, to drag her backwards. And as I'm wrapping around her neck, she takes advantage of my forward leaning and gets control of my hips with her hips. Okay. So by getting her hips under mine, it makes me very easy to throw. As I wrap her neck, she attaches, gets her hips below me. Now she does is straighten her legs and bend forward.
And three. Wow. That's awesome.
The slapping that I do on the mat is just to protect my spine. I slap the mat so my arm takes some of the shock of the fall rather than my.
And I wondered about that because I saw you slapping the mat.
I have a 40-year-old back. That's very necessary.
Okay.
Another move, we went to the ground. And here, another very common attack, especially like a man versus a woman, but even a man versus a man in a street fight. One guy will get on top of the other and either punch them, choke them.
Right.
And I think we addressed both. So the first time I choked her. And again, with a choke, you have 5 seconds before she goes to sleep. And now she can't defend herself. You know, she's at my mercy. So for her to be able to survive the choke without going unconscious is the only thing that's going to allow her to continue to fight or escape. You might want to move aside just a little bit.
I was just going to go the other way.
Okay.
You go the other way.
So with this, when I go to choke her, if I'm a four-legged table and she takes away 2 of the legs by trapping my foot and trapping my arm, now all she needs to do is elevate and give it a little tip, and the table turns over. From here, she braces my knees and uses a technique to stand to escape. The other punch defense. Notice how this takes training. You can't just do this.
Right.
Because it's very hard to hold your arms here when somebody's trying to punch you. That's why you have to be in this situation a lot to be able to do this move. But if she moves her arms up to block the punches and I walk up, now she may block 1 or 2, but if she elevates her hips now, it doesn't have the effect that it would if her elbows were here. Now I'm limited to sit in a very small place, and if I go to touch her face, she oopas in. And I have to put my hands on the floor. Now she grabs the arm, takes 1 of the legs of the table away, takes the second leg away, elevates her hips, and rolls out. Another move, very common in the fight, especially women's self-defense, when we end up here, maybe the guy's not all the way on top of you, but he's on top in the fight. So now she braces my shoulder, my knee, does what we call a shrimp movement. Now she chalks my hips so that I can't get to her while she moves away from me. She kicks or slaps, boom, stands up in base, and escapes.
Oh.
Another move that we did, we worked some wrist grabs a little bit, and these are very, it's a way to very to demean somebody, right? To attack somebody in this manner is very demeaning, you know, because you don't respect the fact that they could hit you. So this is common war, man versus a woman, and a young man versus an older man. But if I grab her to embarrass her, to move her, to drag her, she doesn't have to go with me. She turns her wrist and comes through the opening. Using her elbow as a wedge to knock the arms off. This is a great move. This is one you can do too. The frame. I went to hug her, to grab her, and she put her frame in front of my neck. Now all she's using the bone structure in her arms. I can't get any closer than her elbow to shoulder. That's as close as I'm able to get. And the harder I try, the more I put pressure on my own neck.
Yeah.
So this is a great move. Like if you have somebody, hey baby, how you doing? A long time no see, you know. Now she can put the frame on. She doesn't have to be mean about it, but she doesn't have to get touched either.
Right.
That's a very good move. Whether the guy, depending on the intensity of his aggression, can be the intensity of your defense.
Right.
But bottom line is the guy doesn't get any closer.
Good one. Awesome.
And I think the last one was with this move here, where she puts the frame on my neck. If I try to go under it, she wraps the neck, sits down, throws her legs around me, so now I can't get away. And now she squeezes my neck. And now I'm the one in danger of going to sleep if she get away.
So if I came to one of the empowering, one of the women's classes, I would learn, or self-defense, this would be what we would learn.
Yes, ma'am.
These moves.
And Tammy's been doing Jiu-Jitsu with me for maybe almost 2 years now. She started the women's class before she started the regular adult class, and it's been really satisfying to see how good she's gotten, and to try to be able to.
I saw you struggling.
I can't do anything with her anymore. She's very good.
Yeah. Well, that was just, I'm going to go home and practice something. No, I'm just playing. Now, I would like to come to one of your self-defense classes. So is it every Saturday, or is it every other Saturday?
Every Saturday at 10:30, and the first class is free. So anybody that wants to come and try Jiu-Jitsu, we encourage you to do that. We also, some people are like, I don't know, some of this looks a little intimidating when you watch it at this speed, but believe me, she didn't do this in her first day. It's taken a year and a half, 2 years to get to where she's doing it at this speed. Come be a fly on the wall. We've got big windows. If you're too intimidated to come inside, look through the window. When you feel a little more comfortable, walk in the door and have a seat, watch the class, listen. And then when you see how fun it is and that you can do it,
yeah.
That's the most important thing, I think. I think once you see, like, I can do that, then come on the mat, do your free class, and
have fun.
My life's been different ever since my first one.
So one more last question. People are going to want to know about cost. So
sure.
Once you do your free class, then
depending on how many times a week you come,
does the uniform come with it?
The uniform does not,
okay.
But I do sell those separate.
Okay.
And I can tell you that I have the best value in town. I am the only Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, legitimate Gracie Jiu-Jitsu black belt in the area. And the instruction you'll get at my school is first rate. We will make you better, and it's not that expensive.
Awesome, okay. All right, well, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Wow, that was pretty amazing. And Tammy is I was shocked. It was very empowering. I do have a question for you.
Sure.
Is the outfits.
Okay.
What is the meaning behind the uniform? I've always wanted to know. Do you get that when you come in, or how does that work?
The gis, we wear them to train. In the beginning, you're not required to have one, so you can come in gym clothes or shorts or whatever you would wear to do yoga in or something like that. But we wear the gi for several reasons. The first reason is because if you get in a fight, hopefully you're not going to be naked. You know,
right.
people have clothes on initially, and so we don't want to really ruin our favorite shirts by grabbing and pulling and tearing at our clothing.
Right.
So these are fairly durable. The other reason is it aids with some of the techniques that we do. This is very similar to a jacket or a polo shirt, and some of the techniques we actually use the clothing against our attacker. Mm-hmm. And a third reason would be because with like a rash guard or a t-shirt or something like that, or like boxers without the shirts at all, mm-hmm. The fight is much faster, and that's okay once you're trained. But in the beginning, while you're learning, we take things very slow. If I went to a piano lesson and the guy went, all right, your turn,
Yeah.
No way. And I'm trying to play the piano. I know how difficult that would be. But, and it's the same with training martial arts. You start out very, very slow. You build muscle memory through repetition. And you get very good at your technique and teaching your body that, you move here when this happens. And, mm-hmm. and then you can add the speed in later.
Right. Another question. One of your props here, do you ever use those when you fight?
We do use these for training because if you get in a fight, the odds that your attacker is going to use punches against you as their primary weapon is, mm-hmm. It's a very high percentage. So, of course, we know this is what the other guy wants to do to us. Mm-hmm. So we learn to, again, frustrate his attacks and make sure that his primary attacks don't work. So, right. So to do that, we put the gloves on and don't get punched.
There you go. So that was so much fun, just watching you guys, and then of course me getting to actually learn something.
Sure.
Classes.
Yes.
Are they through the week?
Yes, I've got adult Gracie Jiu-Jitsu classes from 10:30 in the morning until noon, Monday through Thursday. Mm-hmm. Also Monday through Thursday, there's another opportunity for adults to train Jiu-Jitsu from 6:30 at night to 8 p.m. And now, as I mentioned before, I have 2 kids classes, one from 5 to 8 years old. Those kids meet at my academy between 4:15 and 5 p.m. Mm-hmm. And then the older kids, 9 to 12, meet from 5 to 6 p.m.
Okay. And where are you located at? Do you have a website?
Yes, ma'am. I am downtown 112 North Spring Street in historic downtown McMinnville. And my website is www.mcminnvillejujitsu.com. And Jiu-Jitsu is Jiujitsu.
Very good. All right, well, when I end the show, I always like to do a toast with some fresh juice. And so today's juice has lemon, avocado, mango, and pineapple. So I'd like to ask Tammy to come back up and join in a toast.
And coconut water, right?
And coconut water.
Water.
Yeah, you caught that.
Very popular among the Jiu-Jitsu guys is the coconut water.
Yeah, coconut water is really, really good for you. It's very hydrating and hydrating, that's right. Hi, Tammy. All right, everybody grab one. Thank you. All right, and this is to our community, and thank you again so much for coming in and talking to us and showing us all your moves. Thank you for tuning in to Channel 6 BLTV, and here's to you, a healthier and new you.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. Thank you.